All right, so we have some more breaking news. Not sure how this is going to go into the podcast itself, what it's going to cut in between the audio version, but either way, we have some breaking news going directly to our YouTube channel, Those Guys on the Radio, about Star Wars The Clone Wars coming to Disney Plus, a streaming service. Now, we already knew it was coming, but we didn't know when. And now
Yeah.
we know when. February 2020.
Mm.
So
Oh wait,
I don't want to
it's worth it.
yeah, I don't want to talk about any spoilers just because I haven't watched. I know a bunch of stuff. There's one spoiler that's just literally screenshotted everywhere. But I will say this much though. Either way, I think this. So I was worried. Here's the thing, Tristan. We were just talking about in our last story about the Mandalorian. I was worried about that selling the Disney Plus streaming service, and also compared to its $100 million budget. This,
Right.
on the other hand, I think can sell the service because anyone who was a fan of Clone Wars, I'm talking about anybody back in the day who followed it even after it's the time it was canceled and then the time it was canceled, but
Mm.
also we cannot forget the time it was canceled. I'm kidding, I don't have to twice, but
Please stop saying that word.
I'm kidding. It was only taken off the air twice. But
I'm going to
Tristan,
find a way to hurt you.
Tristan.
What?
I'm just saying that people who followed it then now can follow it here, and I think they will pay out versus people who, even if, because the thing is, I don't think you have to be this huge Star Wars fan to follow Clone Wars. It was on Cartoon Network, super accessible back in the day. If you were into Star Wars, you could have found it as a kid and thought, oh, I like Clone Wars. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get at. Or if you were a teenager, you were a teenager at the time when you saw it. And I'm watching it now as we're doing a podcast on it for Star Wars Wednesdays, and I love it, right? But what I'm getting at, though, is
Right.
da 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 da. But what I'm getting at, though, is I think that this can draw people in more than if someone. I mean, hopefully, Mandalorian can keep people there
Yeah.
potentially, but I think this is going to be the seller for some who maybe are lapsed, who are like, oh yeah, I saw Clone Wars back in the day, and then if they didn't even finish it, they can obviously they're not going to just have one season of the newest season of Clone Wars. They're going to have the whole thing.
I would assume they would.
So, yeah, exactly. But I say that because you can have someone go, what'll keep people even longer is, man, it's been a while. And let's say they're,
Oh yeah.
Tristan, you have the whole series on
Oh
DVD,
yes.
but someone might not.
No,
But
I
someone
know.
might, yeah, so they might go, oh, damn, it's been a while. You know what? Let me watch it on the service. And then
Right.
that'll keep, definitely 6 seasons of that will keep people longer than a month, most likely. So you would imagine, right?
Right.
But yeah, so either way, we know it's coming February 2020. So November is for The Mandalorian. So then
Yeah.
November, so we have December, January. So are you gonna, let's ask you this, Tristan, let's put it on you. Are you going to un I guess subscribe, get off that payment for the service and then get back in February?
I mean, it'll depend on how everything's set up.
Oh,
Um,
we didn't actually get to talk about this during The Mandalorian. We don't know if it's going to be all dropped in at once or 10 weeks separately.
I'm pretty sure it's separately. I think it's going to be like each.
That's something. No, but that's something to think about because if it
Yeah.
is, then it would bleed into Clone Wars.
Right.
And then, of course, if Clone Wars is each week, then that will bleed into whatever the next thing is. So if they. It's interesting. Disney is doing something that I'm not saying Netflix isn't doing because some of their talk shows are actually doing weekly now. But it was interesting for a bit where they were like, no, everyone must binge. And I'm not saying that I am not accustomed to binging now. I actually do enjoy that now. But
Right.
at a time, I was very wary of it. And even then, and to a certain extent, I still am. Because it just doesn't make sense to drop it all at once and then people can go, all right, goodbye. I'll see
Right.
you next time you have something that I want to binge. So if Disney is going to do once a week with The Mandalorian, makes a huge amount of sense because then it'll, like I said earlier, bleed into Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to watch Clone Wars weekly.
And I mean,
You will.
you don't think I won't?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll
I'm
say this
not
much.
ashamed to admit it.
So this news, if it did come out, may have escaped me. Tristan, help me out here. Is
Yeah.
this going to be the last season of Clone Wars?
As far as I know, yeah, this is going
Okay,
to be the wrap up.
good.
Um, yeah, this is the final season.
I'm really hoping it is, and I say that
I
because I
believe it's supposed to be 12
all
episodes.
right.
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm
Now, I
only
don't know
saying it
whether
is
that's like
12. It is
okay.
12. Yes, you are correct. No, the reason why I'm saying I hope it is the final season is because I would hate, and I was saying this with The Mandalorian, I would hate if the budget is so high, or in general, Disney's putting a lot of money into all of these shows overall, and for some reason, they have this cliffhanger like, oh, of course we're going to come out with a season 8. And then Disney looks at their books and they're like, "Oh, we can't do a season 8." It's
Yeah,
like, don't do that.
yeah,
So don't do that. It's, not every, like, certain revivals actually make sense when done over a few different years. Like the
right.
Fuller House one, the X Files one, I think doesn't just have one new season. I believe they have a few. I'm not too sure if Twin Peaks came back with more than one. Either way, I'm just trying to say that, yeah, it's weird if they took this and thought, yeah, let's just make as many as we can, many new seasons, because you never know what season might be your last. Sorry to bring up bad memories, Tristan, but they've learned that lesson twice. You
Yeah,
never know what season's going to be your last. So don't, hopefully they actually do wrap this up, they consider
yeah,
it complete, and then if they want to do fun other stuff like cameos and side stuff,
yeah.
they can. But
Because
like, yeah.
technically, a lot of this, at least from what I understood, there's a lot of there are story elements that they had in play but didn't get the
Mm,
chance to finish that they're now finishing with the animated series,
right.
but have also been introduced in novels and comics, which I went out and got because I wanted to see the ends of those plots.
Understandable. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh
I'm wondering
God,
how that's going to tie into play as well.
that
Like,
makes
just,
me think of oh God, there was a Marvel show. It was an Avengers one. I really liked it.
yeah,
I don't remember if it was called Avengers Assemble. I might have been.
right,
It was really good. And sadly, season 3 was going to get into Civil War territory,
right,
and they were actually going to adapt that into an animated series as best as they could,
mm,
but then they canceled it.
right.
I don't know. I'm sorry. It wasn't Avengers Assemble. It was Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Avengers Assemble was in the opening song, so that's why it made me think of it. Yeah, they did 2 seasons, and honestly, dude, it was really good. And
Yeah,
then all of a sudden, they were like, "Yeah, we're canceling it." And then they released they actually had storyboards already out, and like Captain America was gonna find Zemo, and I don't know if they already had met Modok, but yeah, they canceled it just to make a show that was more related to the movies, not directly one to one, but that would have characters that were featured in the movies as they came out. And it's like, come on, man.
yeah, right.
This was a good show. And to be fair, I have seen Avengers Assemble recently in passing. Then this is the new one. It's 5 years old. It's at season 5 now, so it's not super new, but
Right.
it's not terrible. But like Avengers Earth Mightiest Hero, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I'm
yeah,
sorry. I'm just captivated by this still.
that's
I won't
fine.
I won't say what it is because spoilers.
So
But
what are you hoping for the most out of this season?
I mean, I'm looking at it basically. I
All
can't,
right then.
but I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, okay.
And basically, if you follow any kind of Star Wars outlet on social media, you probably know what image I'm talking about.
All right then. So either way, we're going to move on to our next story. But before we do, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this down below. You don't have to keep it spoiler free. That was just for me. So you can comment down below your thoughts, what you want from this season. Or if you're fine. Maybe you read the comics and you're thinking, hey, I'm good. I don't need this. Tell me what you think about all that stuff down in the comment section down below.